Hello, scholars. Thank you for joining me for this week's virtual story time at the Copper Queen Library Annex in San Jose. We are entering into our second week of the summer reading program. If you didn't sign up, don't worry, it's never too late. You can follow a link in our description to sign up and receive free books and activities by mail through the end of July. In honor of this week's theme, Imagine Your Family, we are going to be reading Frida and Her Animalitos, written by Monica Brown and illustrated by John Parra. But before we get started, I want you to find a comfortable position. Take a deep breath in. Sit up very tall. Exhale and close your eyes for our imagination exploration. Today, I'd like you to imagine you're sitting in a circle with your immediate family. That means you're sitting with your moms and dads and any brothers or sisters you may have. What a beautiful family you have. Sitting with your family feels familiar and normal. Maybe it makes you feel happy or silly. But let's expand our circle now and let in some more family members. Maybe your pets join the circle. You see your grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins. My, the circle got much bigger. Let's join hands with everyone in the circle. Lift your arms like you're holding someone else's hands. Do you feel their presence? Do you notice the love that they send to you? Can you feel it? Let's take a few deep breaths and think about how this feels. This feels pretty good, right? But hold on, don't you think friends can be family too? Let's open the circle back up to let our friends join. It seems you're very popular. You have friends from all walks of life. Let's expand our circle to include their families too. Now you have all the aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters, cousins, parents, and pets. The circle has expanded so big that we can't see the other side. Imagine that. This is how big your family is. This is where you give and receive love and kindness and support. If you ever see someone or something without a loving circle of their own, you always have the power to open yours up and welcome them in. So let's imagine expanding our circle to include every person and animal in the world. Take a few deep breaths in and on your last exhale, imagine the whole circle shrinking, getting closer and closer until you wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a big, loving hug from your family around the world. Give yourself one last big squeeze, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you for going on that imagination exploration with me. Did you enjoy it? Good, me too. I think we're ready to start our book now. So let's begin. Frida Kahlo and her Animalitos by Monica Brown and illustrated by John Parra. This is the story of a little girl named Frida who grew up to be one of the most famous painters of all time. Frida was special. This is also the story of 2 monkeys, a parrot, 3 dogs, 2 turkeys, an eagle, a black cat, and a fawn. They were Frida's pets, and they were special too. Frida had a parrot named Bonito. Like her parrot, Frida was colorful. She liked to wear bold shades that celebrated indigenous Mexico and her own heritage. She lived in a house the color of a parrot's bright blue feather, La Casa Azul, where she grew up with her mom, dad, and sisters. Do you see the parrot? Can you point to it for me? Right there, very good. Frida had a pet fawn named Granizo. Like her fawn, Frida had watchful, beautiful eyes. When Frida closed her eyes, she remembered her life as a little girl. Frida was always with her father, a photographer who taught her how to look at the world through curious eyes. Frida and her father would walk to the park to collect bugs to look at under a microscope. Frida's father also taught her how to paint finishing touches on his photographs. Frida loved the small brushes and the beautiful colors. What kind of insects are these? Ants, very good. Frida had a cat with black, shiny fur, the same color as her long, dark hair. Like a cat, Frida was playful, but as a child, Frida couldn't always play. When Frida was 6, she got very sick. She was in bed for a long time. But little Frida didn't get sad or bored. Instead, she used her breath to make mist on the window, and then she drew a door with her finger. Frida used her big imagination and curious eyes to walk out the door with a magic friend, a little girl who danced and played like a kitten. Frida was independent like a cat. Frida's sickness left one of her legs different from the other, and children made fun of her. But this didn't stop Frida from skating and riding bikes and rowing on the lakes of the park so that her leg could get stronger. Frida was not afraid to do things other little girls usually didn't do. She wore overalls and boxed and wrestled. Frida had 2 spider monkeys, Fulang Chang and Cayamito del Guayabal. Like her monkeys, Frida could be mischievous, even when she was a teenager. When Frida was 15, she went to a school called the Preparatoria. She found a group of friends she loved. Like Frida, her friends were curious to learn all they could. Together they read and studied, and argued, and sometimes got in trouble. Wearing matching caps, they rode donkeys through the halls of the Preparatoria and set off firecrackers. Oh my goodness, can you imagine donkeys and fireworks inside? That sounds so silly. Frida had an eagle named Gertrudis. Like her eagle, Frida's imagination could fly high. When Frida was 18, she was in a terrible accident, and once again she had to be in bed for many months. This time, Frida didn't create a magic friend. She created art. Frida's mother made her a special easel and hung a mirror over her canopy bed so Frida could paint. Frida used her imagination and incurious eyes to do just that. Feet, what do I need you for when I have wings to fly? And if those weren't enough pets, Frida had 2 turkeys and 3 dogs. Senor Solitol, Senorita Capulina, and Senora Costi. Frida's turkeys were intelligent and sensitive, just like herself. And like Frida, her dogs were warm and loving. When she was lonely or sad, she would wrap her arms around them and they would comfort her. Her solo dogs were the same breed that ran and hunted with the Aztecs thousands of years ago, and a reflection of Frida's heritage, of which she was very proud. Frida's dogs had no hair, but their bodies were warm, and Frida gave them great big hugs whenever she felt lonely or sad. Frida's Animalitos were spirited and entertaining, just like Frida. When her 2 spider monkeys were being good, Frida would hold them like babies. When they were being mischievous, they would steal socks and fruit and leap through windows so no one could catch them. Her parrot named Bonito liked to snuggle under the covers while Frida took naps and would do tricks at the dinner table for pats of butter. Look at that, the butter is right by the bedstand. That's very funny. Frida's Animalitos played all day in the courtyard at La Casa Azul, the bright blue house on Lourdes Street. Her husband, Diego Riviera, even made the animals a pyramid to climb on so that her pets could roam freely. Look at that, it's a pyramid. And what are these? Steps, right, leading up. When Frida painted, her pets would keep her company, and Frida painted all the time, while the birds sang, the dogs barked, and the turkeys danced in the garden. Frida's animals were her children, her friends, and her inspiration. 2 dancing turkeys. Frida painted when she was sick and hurting, and Frida painted when she was happy. She also painted when Diego was gone, and she was sad. But Frida was never really alone at La Casa Azul, the bright blue house on Lourdes Street. She had her Animalitos and herself, and she painted both. Frida painted herself with Fu Lang Chang playing with ribbons. She painted herself with Bonita the parrot and Senor Solitol the dog. She painted her black cat too, peeking over her shoulder. And what are these? Butterflies, very good. Frida painted herself with all the pets she loved so much, and even butterflies and caterpillars. Her paintings were magic. And today, if you visit La Casa Azul in Coyoacán, just outside of Mexico City, you might hear the sound of a bird or see a black cat jump from the pyramid that sits in the courtyard of the bright blue house on Lourdes Street, where Frida and her Animalitos lived so many years ago. The end. Thank you for reading with me today, scholars. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and click subscribe for more literacy content. If you'd like to imagine, explore, and read some more, there'll be links in the descriptions to take you to our other virtual story times. Thanks again for joining me, and happy reading! you.